Now we're going to talk briefly about the piano roll editor. I'm a little tired of Mary Had a Little Lamb, so I'm just going to record a different melody here. This particular one is a little thing from a Haydn symphony. You've probably heard it before, but if not, no big deal. It's just a melody to use. I've already set this up to record, so I'm going to go ahead and click the red button. The first thing that comes to mind is it's too fast, so let's slow it down a little bit. Let's go click right here at the bottom. You'll see there's probably a little note there. If you go down to Project and select that, you'll see several options. You'll see a key, and it is in C, and it is in 4/4. However, I think that that's a little fast. Let's drop it down. Oh, let's put it at about 80 beats per minute. Let's see what happens here. I like that a lot better. So now it's time to open the piano roll editor, and we do that by clicking the scissors again down at the bottom, and the editor screen pops up. Once again, piano roll comes up by default. You have to click that if you want the score, which we don't right now. We're going to stay with the piano roll editor. All of these white dots are the notes that we just played as we recorded it, and you can tell that this editor is divided rhythmically into a number of parts. We'll start right here because it's obvious. In the second measure, that's beat 1, that's beat 2, that's beat 3, and that's beat 4. And then each beat is subdivided again into 4 divisions. So that means that each one of these little lines essentially represents a 16th note. And if you look at the little white notes where they start and end, you can tell exactly where they fit into the timeline of this song. The next thing I want to do is get rid of the most obvious blunder in this. Just go to the very last note that we played. We know that we played a wrong note, and in fact, we can play that back and hear it. So what note was that was wrong? That was a G major chord. If you look over here, you can see the piano keyboard, and you can tell that it played a G, that's that note, and the D, and the B is that note. What is this note? That note is a C, and it does not need to be there. So what are we going to do about it? Well, we've marked it there. We've darkened it. Let's go up to Edit, and let's hit Cut. And it goes away, and it's not there anymore. And we can prove that by playing it back. So let's go back under piano roll and look at some of our options. If you look at the first one, it says View, and the very first option is Notes. If you click that, you see some other options: Modulation, Pitch Bend, Sustain, Expression, and Foot Control. The rest of those are all different types of MIDI events, none of which we're using right at the moment. And quite frankly, we don't have time in this course to go into those. So for the time being, let's just stay with notes. The second one is pitch. We talked about that one before in the last one under the score view, and you can tell it's exactly the same thing. We just moved it up a step. Then we can move it back down a step. You can see it go back to 0. Velocity is exactly the same thing. Once you hit on one of these little white notes, you'll see the velocity pop up and down. And quantize is also exactly the same thing. So we're going to take another small look at quantizing. We already know that these little white dots here represent MIDI events, which represent notes. And they can be moved just like in score view. You can take a note and you can move it up, you can move it down. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter, maybe. You can do pretty much anything you want to with it, but what we're going to do for the moment is we're just going to take a couple of them and move them out of place. And we're going to see if we can make this fix itself. Let's see what that sounds like. Sounds pretty good, but it also sounds wrong. So why don't we go to Edit, go to Select All, and let's quantize this. We always want to quantize it to the smallest note that we have, which in this case is eighth notes. So let's go down and click eighth notes and see if it'll repair itself. And we'll go back and play it. So it did. It fixed itself. And if I had played those notes wrong when we recorded it, it would have fixed it at that point. So let's try one more thing and see if we can get this to work. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's go to Edit, Select All one more time. And let's try to see if we can quantize this to swing heavy. It's going to give it sort of a triplet feel. Let's play this and see what it sounds like. And that is how you edit software instruments. Next, we'll start on how to edit real instruments.